I'm honored to be here with you guys tonight as we celebrate the 25th anniversary of the school, which played such a crucial role in my life and the lives of thousands of other alumni throughout the world. Tonight, I'm going to tell you a story of empowerment. I'm going to tell you my story. It's a story of passion. It's a story of indignation, education, experience, hard work, and results. I'm currently the president and CEO of the Chesapeake Conservancy, a nonprofit environmental conservation organization. And we actually currently employ 5 graduates of the Nicholas School of the Environment. Many of you probably know some of these characters. And we have a team of 22 staff, which we've built from the ground up. We're pulling off things that people never thought were possible. And we never give up, and we strive to be undeniable. We're actively using the skills, the knowledge, and expertise that many of us developed at Duke to advance our mission. We use GIS, policy analysis, environmental monitoring. We make parks, wildlife refuges, and trails, and we are conservation entrepreneurs. We're disruptors. We're unburdened by legacy dogma. We see the new paradigm like the Internet of Everything, which I think is the opportunity of our time. I was just in the bathroom and I saw my picture on the sink. Like there's this little screen on the sink. It's here, right? So we're going to leverage it for all it's worth for the benefit of the environment. We chase big ideas at the Chesapeake Conservancy, and I really believe that we're changing the American conservation movement, and Duke's a crucial part of that story. You see, my education at Duke has helped me to fulfill my dreams, to be a professional conservationist working to protect and restore our great estuary here in the Chesapeake. Believe it or not, you're looking at a story of empowerment that was facilitated by Duke. Nature has been my passion since I was a little boy. I was raised just outside of Boston, and I spent a lot of time out in the woods, the same woods that inspired Henry David Thoreau. So picture a kid with a jar of live salamanders in one hand and a snake skin in the other, coming home far after dark, covered in mud, totally ready for the next day's adventure. That was me as a little kid. And while I loved being outdoors in nature, I also watched my favorite places, my woods, my fields, my wetlands, just disappear before my eyes. I saw the people cut down the trees, pave over the streams and the vernal pools, and build these big McMansions on top of them. And I'll be honest with you, I was really angry about that. I found that to be a great injustice. You see, I come from a broken home, and those places were my sanctuary. They were where my friends were, my creatures that were my friends, right? I loved those places. So I was 16 years old, and I was angry, and I was a lower middle class kid, long hair, questioned authority, and lacked any type of guidance. I had no knowledge, I had no mentors, I had no money, no partners, and very little communication skills. I sure as hell didn't understand economy or politics. I just knew the conservation of nature was really important, worthwhile, and right. And I thought that it might be a good thing, I might be good at it, but I really had no idea how to do it. Inspired by Jack Kerouac and Aldo Leopold, I hitchhiked across the country before my senior year of high school and saw some of our nation's greatest places. Yosemite, the Redwoods, Mount Rainier. I came back more fired up than ever to be a conservationist. That matched up really well with my natural inclination to rebel and question authority. I went on to Evergreen State College, where I studied abroad in the rainforests of Central and South America. Learned some really important lessons. My hair was shorter. I'd gained some knowledge. I thought I knew everything, but I didn't. I had some mentors. I learned a little bit about money. I really didn't have any partners, and I couldn't really communicate that well. I was a little less angry and more determined to actually save something. I held a variety of jobs at entry-level positions at conservation organizations, but even after 3 years of that, I really hadn't saved anything. And I was really lucky to be introduced to the Nicholas School of the Environment and Norm Christensen, which I know is a hero of many people in this room. And people told me I wasn't cut out for Duke. I'd never get into Duke, and I'd never do well there. And I was really fortunate that some people at the school, they gave me a shot to prove the naysayers wrong. And while I was at Duke, I actually interned for Senator Lieberman on Capitol Hill, and worked at the Government Relations Office of the Nature Conservancy. I actually got a suit from the thrift store to work up there. and subsequently helped start the Clayburgh Fellowship, which pays for kids at the Nicholas School to go to Capitol Hill now. In 2004, I received a joint degree, a public policy and environmental management degree from Duke, and I left armed with the knowledge to change the world. Well, what I really needed now was sort of an opportunity to kick this all into gear. And about 3 months after graduating, something happened that would change my life forever. I was lucky enough to meet a man named Pat Noonan, who's the founder, well, he was the president of the Nature Conservancy for a long time and the founder of the Conservation Fund. He was a board member at the Nicholas School at the time. I actually wrote him a letter and asked him for a job. He asked me to write my job description, and I did, and he hired me. And I've been working for him essentially ever since. He's given me every opportunity I could ever ask for. And he's one of the most successful conservation leaders on the planet. He's been the best postgraduate school teacher I could have ever asked for. He wasn't easy on me, I'll tell you that. But he continues to open doors and provide opportunities for me to this day. So at 27, I was working for Pat. My hair was even shorter. I knew more. I had good mentors. I had forged some partnerships. And now I was in the trenches of conservation. I was a soldier working for a great general. And my first project was to help Pat create the John Smith Chesapeake National Historic Trail in the Chesapeake Bay. So I put 80,000 miles on my car to help establish essentially the Appalachian Trail on water. And I gave speeches in front of mayors and county commissioners and garden clubs and historical societies. And in just 22 months, Pat and myself and others convinced the Congress and the President to create this trail. That's really become a landscape-scale conservation framework for the Chesapeake Bay. I was really proud of the role I played in that project, and I'd picked up some tools and some relationships and experiences to actually save something. But I'll tell you, I still hadn't actually saved anything. So, fast forward 3 years from there. So now I'm 32 years old, 16 years after I had made this personal commitment to conservation, and I finally came upon my first real conservation victory. It's 125 acres at the James River National Wildlife Refuge on the John Smith Trail. This jar of dirt is some of the dirt from that piece of property that I've saved. And I carried around to these colleges that I talked to these kids about what it takes to do conservation, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get it done. So the story gets better from there. That project stimulated a lot more activity, and it's been picking up speed. Just last week, we helped protect this site called Werowocomoco, which is one of the most significant American Indian sites in eastern North America. The antiquity and the spirituality of this place cannot be understated. I like to call it the Machu Picchu of the Chesapeake Bay. But we've also helped expand Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge, which is like the Everglades of the North. We helped create the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad National Park, which was actually the first national park in honor of an African American. There were national historical sites, but not national parks. And we helped create Fort Monroe National Monument and 86 new public access sites in the Chesapeake Bay. We're now working to help create the Mallows Bay Potomac River National Marine Sanctuary here in the Potomac. And in fact, on Tuesday night, my organization just gave one of our fellow Nicholas School grads, Kim Hernandez, who's here tonight, an award for her work with us for the Department of Natural Resources and NOAA to help establish that National Marine Sanctuary. It'd be the first in 20 years and the first in the Chesapeake. The Conservancy is also in the fight for our lives right now, trying to protect a place called Phones Cliffs on the Rappahannock River. It's one of the few places that John Smith and the Native Americans would recognize from 400 years ago. And it's a place that really captures the essence of the Chesapeake, which is a national treasure. Our organization has really become what I call a powerhouse conservation organization. We're fundamentally changing the conservation movement through the power of technology and through hard work. Our partners have spent the last 18 months working with the Chesapeake Bay program, Esri, Microsoft, and Intel to create 1 meter by 1 meter resolution data in the Chesapeake. This is the previously available data, and this is the stuff we're producing. This is a game changer for the Chesapeake Bay movement. This is one of the largest high-resolution land cover data sets ever produced, and it's going to be open data. We're giving it to everybody for free. We're arming all of the government agencies, the nonprofits, and the businesses to make better decisions on how this estuary is going to be saved. So finally, 39 years old, my hair receding. I've got a group of amazing mentors. And I have knowledge, and I have partners, and I know how to communicate, and I understand money, economy, and politics. And I can actually say that I helped save something. And I'm a part of a group of people that are working together to save many things. You know, having a 17-month-old daughter really makes this a lot more meaningful for me now. And you know, none of this would have been possible without the Nicholas School and the expertise of its faculty and staff. People like Glenda Lee, who's here tonight, Norm Christensen, Karen Kirchhoff, some of the speakers, certainly the students. You know, while I still have that green fire in my eyes and I fight like a rabid dog for what I believe in, I'm now empowered to create change and change the outcome. What I want to do is actually scale up and do it at a bigger scale. So these skills and my career path, I really credit to my education at Duke and the network of students, former students, faculty, and staff that have helped me along the way. That's what I'm saying, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you.